Okay, good morning. I hope this video finds you well um, and not having too many crashes in your game. Oh God, I know. I've had crashes ever since I was modding. Not necessarily like always writing mods, but modding games back from even Fallout 3. That was actually the very first game I modded, and it didn't work first time I did it. Okay, because I didn't really know about file invalidation because I kind of went into a blank. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out how would we approach, because in order to solve the problem, we have to have some kind of approach. And I'm going to look at this completely just uh, blindsided. I'm not even, I have no idea. I took a very brief glance at it, but we're gonna pretend we've never seen this before, and we're gonna figure out how could we even isolate this problem. What can we do to maybe approach, isolate, and potentially fix the problem? Now, I'll probably have to split this video up into like 2 or 3 videos because it's going to cover a lot of ground. It's going to be a lot of talking, so I hope to goodness I don't put you to sleep with all this. Okay, all right. And I apologize for the cat. She's already jumped up on me twice, and I don't know what it is about cats. I have no idea. Okay, all right. So no matter who a person is when they mod their game, there are so many variables. So let's start out with the very most basic thing and see if we can work our way in, because we have to cut a path through. Like, imagine knowledge is like a giant cloud and everybody adds things to it, and sometimes the cloud blocks the light. So in order to get to the light, we have to cut through the cloud. So we have to cut a path through it, and you can't just jump up in a cloud of ideas and then expect you to point guide your way through the cloud, because you'll wind up bouncing from different opinions all across the map. And sometimes you'll go right back to where you started, and then kind of like from a philosophical point of view, and you'll bounce all over the place and you'll never make it through it. So what we have to do is we have to cut a path. So we have to light that path with a way. So part of that way is going to be anchoring ourselves in some kind of understanding as to what, like what we think it is, how we can approach it, and then maybe looking to the cloud for ideas as we continually cut our path through to the other side. So I think philosophically that probably sums up how I approach literally everything in life, including programming and including this. Okay, so that being said, don't so as we're approaching this, I'm not going to look at it as, yes, there are a lot of mods, and I'll get to all that in a second. Yes, it does change things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the mods cause the problem. It could be bad data. And so you could say, yes, data is in the mod, but the fact that it's modded doesn't necessarily cause the problem. You see how that works? Because someone could say, yes, it is modded, and it is the fact it's modded that caused the problem, because the problem is in the mod. But modding a game is more than just scripting code or things like that. It's actual data. So it could be something as simple as one piece of data in this massive mod is causing a crash, and all of a sudden you'll hear, oh well, it's this mod that's a piece of garbage, and it has nothing to do with it. It might be a great mod, but it's just one little tiny thing. And that happens because I'm telling you, it's true. It happens to me all the time. Like I say, I'll write something and I'll be like, oh, this is the coolest thing I ever wrote. And I promise you, not more than a week or two later, I'll go back into it and I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh my God, like, who wrote this? Like, really, what was I thinking when I wrote this? And it's true. I'm not just saying that. And I'd be like, I can't even envision, like, how could I write something so, like, I can't even describe it. And then I'll fix it. So it does happen. Don't know why it happens. I think probably, if I was to venture a guess, it's because it's like writing a novel. Coding, even like writing a mod or a script, is just like writing a novel. We write as we think, and we're thinking sequentially. We're trying to solve the problem sequentially. So in that process, we're not thinking everything through, because we're looking at step by step and not step by step in the process as a whole. So I wanted to give you that first, so you can get that first step to cut through that cloud of all that information and all those opinions to see if we can figure out what this could be. Now, I haven't really seen it, but I'm going to try to venture a guess on how I would approach it. Okay, so the first thing, now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at your load order, but I'm not going to look at that to be a person who says, yes, it's because you've got 40 billion things in there. No, no, forget all that. Let's see, let's just take a look at it. I've got it here. I've got your two crash reports. Okay, I've got the automated one. I've got the longer one, which this is the one I needed to see. And there's a reason I need to see this, because see, this one doesn't show me the stack. What I need to see is the stack, which is this right here. Okay, and I'll explain why I need to see this, or why I believe I need to see this, or I would like to see this here in just a second. Like I say, it's going to be multiple videos. I apologize for that, but it's a lot to cover, and I want to do the best I can to make sure that I do this for you the best that I can possibly do. Okay, so let's go back here and take a look at your load order. There is, oh, sorry, that's something. I haven't had breakfast this morning. I have to go fix some breakfast here in a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at what you have. This might take a little bit, but I'm going to try to go as quick as I can. All right, so here are the official files. That should be good. Okay, sometimes people will actually say you can clean the official files. Is this thing got a, I bet you anything, this, let me see, if there's some reason I got this locked out. Yeah, I probably do. Let's see. Okay, so this right here is your official files. Okay, that should be fine. You have your creation kit stuff, starts with CC, that's fine. Unofficial patch comes next, that's fine. HUD framework, workshop framework. Normally I've seen where SS2 comes after that, so I can't tell you whether that is a problem or not. I'm not even going to assume it is. South of the sea, that changes some locations. Mutant Menagerie, Far Harbor, this adds new creatures. Clean my settlement, that only affects settlements. And that should be scripts that only affect objects in settlements, such as removing them. Okay, here you got Mutant Menagerie. It's interesting that it sorted it It's interesting that it sorted SS2. It broke the Mutant Menagerie group up. Me personally, what I did over here is I grouped mods that were very similar. So, for example, when I put, like, let's say creatures in here, I put all the creatures, or the creatures that, now this is the ESMs, right? So this won't show all the creatures because some creatures are ESPs. Let's see if we can find them down here. Like, see, some creatures here would be like ESPs. And I think I had like NPCs or something, and creatures, NPCs. All right, so let's go up here and take a look. I would group like mods together. That's one of the things I would do. And there's many ways and reasons you could group like mods together. One thing that a sorting mod might do is take a look at the type of changes the mod is going to make. It might start with a global change, like something that changes, let me think, I forget the term for it, but it might change the environment, like a world space change. And put those first, like things that change world spaces, that make the biggest environmental changes, and then make a patch. Because, see, sometimes some mod authors will, when they make an ESP, they'll go into the creation kit, and they will literally, because what the creation kit does, it copies the vanilla record down into a new mod, and then you change those records. So one mod, because each time it'll copy that vanilla record down, because remember, mods are not really aware of other mods. So I'm going to write a mod, and I'm going to put a robot in a world, so I'm going to put it next to Sanctuary, right? So the mod is going to need to know where in the world space am I going to put this robot. Well, I'm going to put it in Sanctuary, so it's going to copy that Sanctuary data down, then I'm going to put in that uh, in other records the fact that it's going to be this robot, which is this reference ID and this XYZ location. So if your mod comes before mine and let's say adds a box, and my mod comes after and overwrites that record, your box is not going to be there, even though that mod is in the game, because I overwrote that record. So the best way to approach it would be to group like mods together and then only load those mods up in Xedit that's in that group and make a patch for it. Try to figure out make a patch for all those mods. Like for example, I have one that puts a facility. It's like a little dungeon near Sunshine Tidings Co-op, and there's a robot there who has a key. So when I went there, I'm like, "Where's the robot?" There's no robot here. So I couldn't get the key. I could easily unlock the door, by using a console command. You just click on the door and then type in unlock, hit enter, and that unlocks the door. That'll unlock terminals too. And I could go in and check it out to see if I actually, because I'd never seen this before. I'm like, I want to check this out, see what this looks like, see what this mod author's done. Because I love environments and I like the way environments make a person feel, right? So I wanted to see this. So then I went back and I brought up the whole load order, and in Xedit, I brought the whole load order up. I looked for that particular mod. Once I clicked it, I opened it up to find conflicts, which usually marked in kind of a light red color. Went over to the right to see what was overriding it, and I found out. So what I had to do was copy, because what that mod does is it literally in an ESP uses a record to place that robot. It doesn't inject that robot. It doesn't use not a place at me, but it doesn't inject it. So it's hard coded in the ESP, which means that a mod that came after it that also had that same record overwrote it. So therefore the robot wasn't there. So I had to go in and make a patch for that. So that is a distinct possibility. So you could group like mods together and then make a patch for it. All right, so let's keep taking a look. Okay, so South of the Sea does add certain this does add certain changes to the world space, but I'm gonna assume that's not the case. I have it in mine, and I'm not getting nav mesh crashes, and I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, there's SS2. There's your Rest of Mutant Menagerie. This SS2 X-Pack Chapter 2, that's the Chapter 2 stuff. Homemaker, all Homemaker does is add workshop items to your workshop menu and your build menu. Vault Hub 81, I'm assuming that is something that either puts stuff outside of Vault 81, like a trading post right outside of Vault 81, or turns Vault 81 into a trading post. So it might modify an internal cell, perhaps. More than likely an external cell, which is right outside of 81. Randomized bots framework, I believe that's the thing that when it puts the little roaming robots out in the world, doesn't, it kind of randomizes them. More prefabs, I've got that. Games, I'm assuming that gives you, holotape games, or maybe like poker tables or something like that, because I see Barstool games here as well. Canary Save File Monitor probably looks for certain file size or certain variables or script names, and if it tries to access a script name or a script variable and it's gone, then that means somehow it dropped the data. Merc Burgers, probably something that adds cooking to your cooking thing. Robot Nuka Apartments, that's just probably apartments. It expands settlements. So it puts things in the world space, changes world space, puts in new cells for internal areas like the apartments. Robot Home Defense adds robots, settlement keywords. I forget what that one does, but I believe it expands certain things that you can do in settlements, maybe adding things to the menu or the build menu or something like that. E3 Master Plan, not sure what that is. You got a lot of different city plans. I don't believe that's the problem. You have Workshop Override. That's the workshop framework thing. A lot of times people put this in because it's like, okay, I'm not sure what the crash is, so that's the easiest solution to do is to drop an override in and say, okay, is this being overwritten? Um, and it's kind of like there are so many possibilities that oftentimes it just takes a lot of time to try to troubleshoot something, especially if you're a team of people and you've got so many problems coming in from all over the place. It literally would take way more time than what the team would have. You would almost need a dedicated team to debug and all that kind of that kind of thing. Um, okay, plans, WD plans. Okay, we got settlers essential patch. Okay, that probably is self-explanatory. It keeps settlers where only the player can kill them. Sorry about that. This is my stomach again. It's gonna keep doing that. Sovereign X props and junk. Okay, Sovereign X. He usually does like texture changes, things like that. Movable power armor. That I'm assuming that lets you actually pick up and move power armor when you're in workshop mode. That shouldn't be a problem. Nuke World Plus. It sounds like that expands. Previs. I would put this towards the bottom. I've got previs down here because you want previs. I've got all the previs stuff. Let's see, where beeth previs here. Give me a second to locate right here. So I have a section here, which is just I call pre-combines, and I put this towards the bottom, so it kind of starts here, and you can see that it ends here. So it's literally this whole block, and then the only thing I have next is a patch, bash patch, which you were talking about. Bash patch. This is from. Let me clear all this. This is from Rybash. I mean, no, I'm sorry. This is not from Rybash. This is from Rybash, and then that's the sorter patch, which that Mater generates through his Xedit script, and this cleans up some of the mutant menagerie patch, and that's it. So the pre-combines come last. So I would kind of recommend putting that as low as possible. Outcast remnants, that adds that faction, the outcast faction, to the game. Extended, that has the data. I've got this. This is like that. I believe that is a dungeon. At least I think I got this. Is it HAIA? Is that what it is? Oh God, I can't even type. Okay, yeah, then I don't have that one, but that looks familiar. Armor Compendium, that adds, I believe, Ellie's weapons and stuff and armor. It's like a whole big group. Children of Adam Ruined Church, that's a settlement for the Children of Adam thing. Far Harbor Story. Cheater's Den, not sure what that one is. That could be like a little place where people hang out and kind of do their thing. Don't hold me on that. Fusion City Rising, that is a pretty good size. I believe that's a pretty good size expansion mod. Recruitable Settlers lets you recruit settlers. Let's see, Adam Cat's Home, that probably extends Adam Cat. Cheat Terminal, that probably gives you certain options to where you could go into the game and add certain things. You got, this is I think that's interesting NPCs from Atomic Radio, Tales from the Wasteland. Who's the General? That probably keeps NPCs from bugging you, like constant, Gordon, Garvey. Why I keep on calling him Gordon Darvey? I have no idea why I call him that. Garvey. I can't even think of his name. Well, anyways, keeps Garvey from constantly harassing you, or them constantly giving you quests, like just literally bombarding you. And that's an oversight from Bethesda's fault. And they seem to really lack in that department, that cleanup department. Okay, so keep Radiance in the Commonwealth. On this right here, I know this is a lot of talking. I'm gonna have to split this up, but I'm gonna try to make it to the end of this real quick, just to kind of go through this to show you that, and I'm kind of categorize these to see, you categorize them and then try to determine what might cause the problem. So I keep going here. Keep Radiance in the Commonwealth will literally keep. I think it'll keep you from bouncing all over the place to Nuka World and everywhere else. And instead of sending you Radiant quests all over the map like Far Harbor, it keeps it all in the Commonwealth. Now, what we really need here is this script needs to be modified so that it only will give you a radiant quest in the area that you're in, or 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 even settlement attacks needs to be modified to do that. So if I'm in Nuka World and I'm in the middle of a Coca-Cola factory, or not a Coca-Cola, I'm sorry, that's offensive to Nuka-Cola, a Nuka-Cola factory, um, then don't send me all the way back to the Commonwealth because I have to exit the factory. Well, technically, I can teleport out, but I can directly out of the building. I use Fall Souls, and I'll talk about that later if you're interested. But it's not really as bad as what people think, and I don't think it's causing a crash per se. Institute settlements, of course, that is more like a settlement, either an institute type of settlement or provides workshop objects so you can create a settlement that looks like it's from the institute. Snappy House Kit, I believe that's the one that adds snappable stuff to the workshop menu, that lets you snap bigger houses or something together. Tiny Living, that's little bitty houses for SS2. That's Far Harbor recruitable settlers. Whisper unlock power armor paints. That's probably self-explanatory. It unlocks all the power armor paints in the game, so you know they're not gated behind a quest or perk or something. Doom Merged, that's weapons. Project Valkyrie, I believe that is a weapon or a quest. I'm not really totally sure. Lima Outpost, that sounds like a settlement or a quest mod for a new area, so that probably changes the environment or adds something to where you can enter the dungeon. Vault 81 entrance, I'm not sure if that changes the way the entrance looks, so that probably edits the environment, or adds a new entrance location like a sewer or something, some back entrance, even underwater, some type of entrance. That would edit the environment. Settlers at Play, I believe that may provide different AI for settlers. I'm going to guess by reading that. So that would change AI packages. Happy Trails, not sure. Craftable power armor frame, that you can craft power armor frames. I don't know if you can craft them at the power armor station or in the good old chem bench. The chem bench is amazing. You can do just about anything there. Liberty Reborn, redone, probably redoes Liberty Prime, so that's probably that object. We got a long way to go here. But to kind of cut this short so I can go on to maybe the next one here so it doesn't completely turn into a massive video. Fall Evil adds new creatures. Junktown, that adds SS2 buildable plot types. Better Armory. So looking at the mods, what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out what do they modify in the game? What do they change? What do they possibly add? Does it change the world space? Does it change? Because the game is, like I say, it's code, and then it's a ton of data that the code interprets or reads and then does certain things based on conditionals. So what data does these mods change? And that will help you isolate what could possibly, like if something crashes. Oh, there goes my stomach again. Don't worry, I'll get all these done before I eat something because it'll take me a while to fix something, and this is not a problem at all. I just hate the fact you have to hear that. I'm actually drinking coffee with hot chocolate in it, so it's kind of I like it's kind of like my poor man's Starbucks, so to speak. Um, I like cocoa powder instead of using like milk or water. I use coffee. Okay, so let's see. All right, so back to what I was saying. Um, so try to figure out what the mods change, and then look at what possibly might be causing the crash, and then see if we can figure out which ones would have done it. Okay, pass through. This just simply creates pass through conduits. Not a big deal. UN Watt Army. I've seen that before. Build pieces. So nothing here that would be like advanced bubble turret set. I think I've got that. Um, Wasteland gardening. That's for. Let's see here. See, with Wasteland Gardening and Uninstaller, I'm not sure about this. You may want to take a look at this one because sometimes mod authors will include an uninstaller ESP, and they'll tell you, you know, if you want to uninstall this, put the uninstaller ESP in there. And basically what it does, it will stop running scripts so that it'll actually stop, or, you know, I don't think the term is kill, I think it's stop, because usually like with Windows, they talk about killing tasks. And usually what that means is you can signal a task to stop. If it doesn't stop, you have to forcibly make it stop, otherwise it's going to hang something up. So I think it actually stops all the scripts, so you can actually remove the mod without have a bunch of rampant running scripts that no longer exist. So I'm not, you double check this one and make sure if this really should be here. See what the mod author says. I haven't looked it up yet, but we'll actually hop in there and do some lookups, because I got a lot more ground I need to share with you to try to help with a lot of this. So just double check this, because he may say you only put this in when you want to uninstall the mod. So this may have put objects and started scripts and then turned right around and taken them back out, which wouldn't necessarily be a problem. You just wouldn't notice the fact that the mod would work at all. But just double check that, because I'm not sure. Usually when they put installer on it, that, because normally like they'll put like a mod here and they'll put a hollow tape that allows you to stop scripts, and it basically run once. The script is flagged to run once. It'll stop all the running scripts that were set to auto start, auto run, or, you know, like on startup or something. And then what, because the script that stops everything is set to run once, it'll then just, once it's done doing all of its stuff, it stops, and then you can remove the mod. Furniture photo mode, that simply lets you, it clears the HUD out, lets you just take, you know, full photo shots of your screen, and maybe pose your characters. So that's kind of like that. So that's looking at your load order. All right. So I'm gonna stop this video, and then we're gonna move on to the next one. We're gonna start moving over to your crash log. All right. So hang in there, and we're definitely gonna see what we can do.